Thank you. We'll now continue tonight's concert with the looking at the wrong group. Next to perform in tonight's concert is the All-State Orchestra, consisting of 73 students of the 114 orchestra auditions originally submitted across 16 different schools. If you're an orchestra director of a student on stage, please stand and be recognized for your efforts on your student's behalf. Before we proceed to our first share awards, I'd like to take a moment and thank our wonderful All-State Orchestra coordinator, Robin Lanier from Betty Davis East Anchorage High School. Please give her a big round of applause. And now to announce our orchestra first chair awards. The first chair medallions were determined by live chair auditions at the festival and were presented during the dress rehearsal earlier today. Will the orchestra members please stand and face towards the audience as I announce your name? I ask the audience to hold your applause until all of the reward recipients are announced. For our first violins, Andy Zhang from Diamond High School. Second violins, Leah Holbert, West Valley High School. On viola, Abigail Page from South Anchorage High School. On cello, Ezra Allwright from West Anchorage High School. On string bass, Hunter Burness from Robert Service High School. And on piano, Ilya Shimko from West Anchorage High School. Please give him a big, huge round of applause. For this evening's performance, please refer to your program for the musical selections performed. And now, conducting our 2025 All-State Orchestra from the Cleveland Institute of Music and Case Western Reserve University, please join me in welcoming Dr. Kathleen Horvath to the stage.
While the winds come on and prepare for our last piece, which I'll correct the error in the program in just a second, but I wanted to explain to you, first of all, I'd like to thank the orchestra for allowing me the last 2 days to kind of beat on them a little bit. And the rhythmic opening that we did before the first piece was something that we used in rehearsal to help us maintain a steady pulse, and they decided that they wanted to do it for a performance. So I would like you to thank them for having an open and expanded mind. So one of the advantages of being asked, thankfully, to do these kinds of things is that I get to spend a lot of time with repertoire and think about different ways to connect the students to repertoire, and in this case to Alaska. So the first piece was written by a colleague of mine, Newbold, who's one of the most up-and-coming young female composers of our time, and it's entitled American Landscape, and it's about taking a train across the United States, and I think you heard the wheels chugging along as we played that, and I can think of no more incredible state than Alaska to have such wonderful, amazing scenery, mountains, oceans, etc., and that was a homage to the state of Alaska in this particular piece. The second piece that we just played, called Voyage, was actually a piece written by an Aaron Wilburn poem, and he was one of the most famous American poets, and it's about come voyage with me, invitation to the voyage, meaning come spend your life with me. It's about the existential aspects of life and about how we live in nature, which I thought was also pretty appropriate to the state of Alaska. And then the last piece that we're going to play, we're going to give the winds a chance to kind of tune and play a few notes, since they all played the band concert already. It's actually not just entitled Calm Sea, but it's Calm Sea and Prosperous Voyage. And it too is a two-section work based on two poems by Goethe, and it's regarding the sailors who are out on the ocean. And the first part is Calm Sea, where the sailors look out and they see absolutely nothing but beautiful, calm sea that beckons them to a voyage. And the second half, well, 2/3 of the piece, is the prosperous voyage part. And you can hear all these references to currents and oceans. And at the very end, we dock after a very safe and prosperous journey. And I can think of no other thing that embodies the state of Alaska than these three pieces. And I was really grateful to have the opportunity to be asked to come, and thankful to work with these fine individuals. So we'll give the winds a few minutes to tune, and then we'll be back to do the Mendelssohn. Thank you.
Before our All-State Orchestra departs from the stage, I'd like to invite Billy Strickland, ASAA Executive Director, to please join me in welcoming Billy Strickland.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to come up here tonight to present the ASA Academic Award to a school with a 3.73 cumulative GPA. Not surprising. We often find that our music students are also excellent in all their classes. Prior to presenting this award to the school, though, I'd ask that you would notice on the back of your program tonight, there's this QR code for the Alaska Arts Education Data Project. We're really trying to get more input from communities throughout the state that will help us show the people that need to know how important the arts are in our schools. And this would go a long way to that. As a student at Bethel Regional High School, believe it or not, I was actually in the choir, but not near at the level that our students are today. But I pride myself that we are the Alaska Activities Association, not the Alaska Athletic Association. I often say to people that I believe that the relationship that our coaches, our art teachers, and our music teachers have with students is just different, because they want us to push them a little harder than every kid in my U.S. history class did. All right, with no further ado, I again really appreciate the students here, their teachers and others, winning the award this year with a cumulative GPA of 3.73, Juneau Douglas High School. Douglas students in the orchestra, please stand. All right, back to the show.
We'll now take a quick break to transition from our orchestra and band setup over to our choir setup. So thank you.